Hello, everybody. Testing, testing my mic. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Testing. No sound. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, come on. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Of course. Hello, hello, hello. I have I have good sound. Cool. Hello, everybody. I know I'm early, but I'm just doing a sound check. Cool. Hello, Lori. Hi, Watchman. Sherry, Gangster, Evil, Smitty. Hello, everybody, and good evening. Good evening, people. Hope everybody's weekend's going good. I'm not going to start my topic yet because it's not 7 o'clock. So I'll just sit here and talk to you guys. As most of you know, I think my wife is getting ready to have hip surgery done. They're scheduling that. She's got to take a couple classes. Other than that, that is something that we are preparing for. It's gonna be different. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Ruby. Oh no, Ruby, that's my cats playing around. But no, tonight's topic that I'm gonna share is, of course, like I said, it's from an email that I get. It's it's six bug in, not bug out, but bug in mistakes that you'll probably make right now. So it's whether you bug in or you bug out. What are you going to do? Whatever this, whatever scenario may come along. But I did find this article pretty interesting, so I thought I would share it. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. As I said, it's titled Six Bug In Mistakes That You'll Probably Make Right Now. So it starts off, it says, most of the time it makes more sense to bug in than it does to bug out. There have been many survival writers who have taken this stance. Bugging out, especially bugging out into the wild, is something that should not be undertaken lightly due to the difficulty that one will face in trying to stay alive. And that's what you're trying to do anyway. That's why you prepare. You're trying to stay alive. So at home, you have everything you own to help you to survive. When you bug out, all you have is what you can take with you, which is true. So it goes on. And of course, there's expectations to this. Owning a safe, prepared retreat. The proverbial cabin in the woods. Hey, it'd be all grand if everybody could have a cabin in the woods someplace. If I owned that and faced a potential survival situation, I would probably be the first to bug out. But, I don't have the money or resources to have a cabin in the woods to bug out to. So, like most others, my plan is to bug in through whatever disasters come my way. That complicates my plan somewhat because I have to make sure that I can survive in a place no matter what happens. If I don't, then this decision to bug in could prove to be a fatal one. And there's a lot to say about, bugging in or bugging out. And once again, it all depends on your situation. So that means discovering potential mistakes and any plans that anybody makes. If you're preparing to bug in, there's always a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and we all know this. So yet I've found several through the years, mostly by reviewing what has happened in other disasters. Through and after action evaluation. That's the hard part. Once a problem is discovered, there's always a solution to it. And we're talking the natural disasters that have happened in the past and that we all know about. Katrina is always the big one that sticks out in my mind. So he goes on talking about the question is, are you making the same mistakes? And the first one is the backup plan. Does everybody have a backup plan? I've got a plan B. I'm not going to say I've got a plan C because I haven't went that far. But as I said, this is just, it's our thought. A lot of us are different with our prepping situations. So, but anyway, the backup plan this person writes out, and they're not my words. Like I said, I'm just sharing. I'm sharing this. Perhaps the worst thing that any of us can do is to lock ourselves into a survival plan which doesn't have a backup. A large part of being a prepper is to be prepared for anything, kind of like the Boy Scout motto. Even a plan to bug in has to have a backup plan. Any plan you make, you have to have a backup plan. Doesn't matter. So circumstances may not allow you to bug in, regardless of what you plan. I'm sure there were preppers living in southeast Houston when Hurricane Harvey struck. They had their stockpile, their equipment, their plans, and none of it did them any good. They still had to abandon their homes when the flooding came, just like everyone else. Whatever preparation they had made to bug in ended up being nothing. That was even worse for the people of Paradise, California, when the Camp Fire burned down all 12,000 buildings in their city. Regardless of how well prepared they were to bug in, they still had to leave. Otherwise, they would have died. So it's all about that situation. If you are so locked into your plan, if you're so locked into your plans that we are unable to break from them, they're the wrong plans. You have to be flexible in your plans. If you plan on bugging in and something happens and you have to leave, you gotta go. You don't second guess. Don't second guess it. If I had, I have to bug in, and this is the person that wrote the article. He is stating that he has to bug in because his wife is part of the city's emergency action team. He states that she can't bug out. Even so, I have plans in place to bug out, knowing that will cost her job. Now, just that statement there, if shit gets that bad, I hope that whoever wrote this article, I truly hope that they do bug out. If shit's that bad, guess what? I don't. If you're a firefighter, a cop, if you're a nurse, a doctor, whatever, and shit's gone that bad, you're not getting a paycheck. That's all I'm saying. Family first. That's just me. Family first. So the second part of his article is your hidden caches. And you've heard about, okay, from wherever you live, and say you have a bug out location along the route or routes that you take to get to your second location, you may have stashes along the way. So this is his comment about your hidden caches. If we don't have a realistic backup plan, then chances are real high that we haven't done any preparations to survive. If we have to leave our homes, and I'm not talking about a bug out bag, everyone has one of those. I'm referring to equipment and supplies that we can use once we bug out. All a bug out bag is supposed to do is keep us alive for 3 days. After that, we need to be able to resupply, and which is true. Your bug out bags, depending on how you build them, put them together, it's only going to sustain your the 3 days, maybe a week, like he was saying. So after you run out of that stuff, where are you going to resupply everything? So he goes on saying supply caches can take on many forms and be in many sizes. But as the two examples I used above show, there are times when you're going to need them. It says any preppers in Houston, Texas, or Paradise, California, who didn't have the caches weren't really any better off than anyone else. They were dependent on the cash in their pockets and finding emergency shelter. So, I mean, it was, there, especially if anybody followed the fires in Paradise, California, that was a mess. And even if you were prepared, you ended up losing. Those people lost everything. So the next one that he goes on about is self-rescue. Regardless of the disaster, you should be prepared to perform a self-rescue. Going back to Houston, I wonder how many of the people living in the southeast part of the city who had to evacuate had a boat or even a rubber raft, not a rubber chicken. Rubber chicken's not going to help you. Everyone else, he says, I saw only one family in a rubber raft in all of the videos that this person watched. Everyone else was being rescued by the boats of the Cajun Navy. I almost said cayenne, not the pepper, and other workers that showed up to help. Says, thank God for the Cayenne Navy, but I didn't become a prepper in order to depend on others to rescue me. The key words. I did not become a prepper to wait for somebody else to rescue me. Not that it couldn't happen, though. Since I lived in a hurricane zone, I realized that I needed to have some sort of boat to rescue myself and my family with, if nothing else, an inflatable life raft. Not to brave the wind and rain of a hurricane, but to brave the flooding that follows. Each of us have potential natural disasters that we face depending on where we live. With that being the case, shouldn't we have a plan for rescuing ourselves from them? Pioneering families would go down in the root cellar to escape tornadoes. Can't we at least do that well? So what this guy is trying to say, or what I'm picking up from it is, he's trying to tell people, be prepared for anything. You know where you live. Whether you're like Prairie and live up in Canada where it's freaking cold all the time, or if you're down in Texas where you can deal with hurricanes, or in Florida, just wherever. Everybody knows their situation. And that's what this guy's trying to say. All right, the third part that this guy talks about is home safeguard. So he goes on saying, if you're planning on bugging in, then you'd better lay a general's eye to your home. Chances are pretty high that you're going to come under attack sometime. It may not be during the first week of your survival saga, but it will happen eventually. In fact, the longer you go, the greater the chance of the attack. Protecting yourself and your home in the wake of a disaster isn't the same as protecting it during normal times. You can't depend on a deadbolt to keep the criminal element out. That's nothing more than another obstacle to whoever wants to get in and get your stockpile. I guarantee you they can get through a bolt lock. And while I'm reading this, I just want to say hello to everybody that came in that I didn't notice. So if you are going to safe home, or you're staying in your house, what he is saying, when that attack comes to your home, I think it's safe to say that it won't be a lone or a single criminal that comes knocking down your door. It will be a small crowd. I tend to think in terms of 10 to 15 people that may show up. And they most likely, these 10 or 15 people that show up will be armed. They'll be hungry and they'll be angry. So I seriously doubt that any of them will have any compulsion about shooting you or your family so that they can get whatever food you have. Do you honestly think that you can fight off effectively against a dozen armed people who are bent on killing you and stealing what you have. I'm not Rambo, at least not most of the days. While I have a serious defensive plan in place, a lot of it depends on having my survival team with me. That's another key word, survival team. Do you have a survival team? And that goes into his next, I think this is the fourth one, because it's 6 bug-in mistakes. The next one is team player or a lone wolf. And we all know about the lone wolf, but there is a different aspect that he puts into the lone wolf that I honestly never gave it any thought. So this guy goes on. He says, team player or lone wolf. That brings me to the next mistake, that of being a lone wolf. Probably the biggest thing mitigating against trying to be a lone wolf survivalist is the need to defend yourself. While you might be able to defend yourself successfully against 2 or maybe even 3 attackers, if you're good enough and lucky enough, I doubt you can do it against a dozen. Here's the thing, though. Unless your team's survival plans include coming together and surviving in one place, you are a lone wolf. A teammate who lives across town isn't going to do you the least bit of good when your home comes under attack. For that matter, if your town is big enough and there's no fuel for your cars, they're not going to do you any good for any part of survival. I mean, if it gets that bad, especially if the grid goes down, you're not going to be able to pump any gas unless you've got gas stashed away. Anyway, so this guy goes on. This person states, I've seen it over and over again. Survival teams that are scattered around town. That's not a team. Unless someone has a place that's big enough for them all to gather at and live together, it's a survival club. That might get together. He's talking about a survival club that these people out there, they'll get together once a month, once a week, whatever, and talk about what they're doing, but they aren't prepared to survive together, to live together, which that makes a lot of sense. The next one that he talks about is poor OPSEC. Finally, most of us have worse OPSEC than we think we do. He says he knows he does. While I try to keep what I'm doing a secret, I have too many friends who have been in my home and who have seen what I'm doing. Granted, I'm showing them my projects because I'm trying to convince them to become preppers themselves. But there are too many of them where they've stated plans that I'm just going to come to your house. And I think this goes back to the Watchman and his letter. If anybody read his letter that he put out. And it's like, look, don't come knocking on my door after, I've explained certain things to you, or don't come knocking on my door if you have nothing after I told you how to prep. And if I think didn't Mike have a title to that letter? But anyway, so he goes on saying it's tricky trying to convince others of their need to prepare without letting them know what you are doing. But each of those people who know are potential problems when things go bad. So it's like the more people that know what you're doing, that's, you got to remember the gossip part. People gossip. You know, I mean, there's some people out there that you can tell them something and you know they're not going to say anything. So the next part of this, he says, then you have to remember about your neighbors. Most of them know your business too, even if you've tried to hide it. There are just too many things that we all do, which are visible to those who are looking. And there are always those who will be looking. Every neighborhood has someone who's nosy, and that same person is usually the one that starts the gossip. Plain and simple. Now, if you live out, excuse me, if you live out in the country and the closest neighbor that you have is a mile away, well, yeah, they're, you know, but they will see when you drive past their house, and you'll see each other in town when you're at the grocery store, and you'll be chit-chatting. So it's, I mean, it's still out there. So this person goes on, the only solution for this problem, besides bugging out to the cabin in the woods, is to have some sort of plan for dealing with the people around you. I'm not talking about the no, I won't help you policy that most of us say we have. I truly wonder how well that's going to work when our friends and neighbors start knocking on the door. My solution to this problem is that I have stockpiled large quantities of extra beans, rice, and seed. That way, I've got something to feed my friends and neighbors with without getting into my family's food stockpile, sorry. Those friends won't be eating as well as we are, but they will have something to eat. They also have seeds to plant so they can start growing their own food. If they complain, I'll just point to my own garden and show them what I wasn't asking them to do anything that I didn't already do. Look, if I can grow a garden, you can freaking grow a garden. Hell, I grew tomatoes out of a 5-gallon bucket. Come on. I know you can't live on tomatoes, though, but I'm just saying. So that must have been all 6. So anyway, that was the email that I got on 6 bugging mistakes that you'll probably be making right now. You might mess up your backup plan, your hidden caches. See, that's I always kind of question the hidden cache thing. Okay, from where I live, And the place that we could go to, as I said, we would have to, there's back roads I've got two ways. I've got the highway and I got back roads I can take to get to the second place. But along the way, okay, bury some stuff here, bury some stuff there. But what if you never make it? Or what if you never get to go that route? Nobody's going to know it's there except for you. And that's going to be wasted. I don't know. It's just, it's just it's a tough decision to make. And to me it is. Because I always throw that what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? So the hidden cache, I'm not, if you've got a second location that you can go to, and at that second location, if there's some type of, if you have a cabin there or some kind of shelter, or maybe bury some stuff there without anybody knowing, keep stuff at your second location. And it's just, man, that's a lot. If you think about it, that's a lot of money. And we got two routes, like I said. One's the highway, and I don't see us burying anything along the highway. And our second, the back roads would be a lot easier, but marking them, mapping them out, no. So I guess it sounds like, for the most part, we will be bugging in. So I don't know. So that's all I got. How's everybody else doing out there in YouTube land? I see we're talking about Oreos. 80 degrees here. JJ, wow, that must be nice. I think we got the 41. It wasn't too bad, though. But anyway, I can, I was going to read something else, and I can't find it now. Don't really need to talk about bug out bags, because I think pretty much everybody knows that. Cheapest foods that you can stockpile. Let's see what this brings up. Do, 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 do. No, so they're messing with Evil, huh? On that fire that happened. Firing the insurance company. There you go, 25 pounds of assorted beans. Are you going to vacuum seal those? I'm doing good tonight. Well, I'm doing good tonight, Sean. Thanks. Sean, I was reading your comment. I can't talk and read at the same time. Wow. That sucks, Evil. So they're talking, let's see, on this article I just pulled up, cheapest foods that you can stockpile. I think most of us know that it's beans and rice. Yep, white rice, pinto beans. Oh, lentil. Lentil beans are good. Cooking oil. Flour and other grains. Cornmeal. Chickpeas. I'm not sure if I like chickpeas, but whatever. Your ramen noodles and other pastas. Oatmeal. Powdered milk. Lentil's not bad, Tommy. I've had lentil. Powdered milk. Has anybody ever drank powdered milk before? Raise your hand if you've ever drank powdered milk before. Yeah, powdered milk's kind of yeah. Oh, it's funny. Well, here's the trick to drinking powdered milk. When you get your powdered milk and you add the water and stir it up, make it all so it looks like milk, all you have to do is take the Fruit Loop cereal and pour the Fruit Loop cereal into that milk, and the Fruit Loops, all the different flavors, it covers up the flavor of powdered milk, and you're good to go. So you're basically drinking Fruit Loops and water. uh, oh, there you go, Evil. So that was powdered milk, and then I don't see where they get turkey as being a cheap food to buy. Huh. I don't know about that one. And then pork. And it talks about drying your own food, which pretty much everybody knows, I guess, how to do that. See, and that's what kills me too. There's so much information out there, and any question that you have at all, any question, you can look this shit up online. So, dip Oreos in the milk. Yeah, I think they do, Gigi. Right. Tease you about your Oreo addiction. Oh, Lordy. So what else can we talk about? Let's say I bought a bunch of turkey parts today. Going to smoke them up and vacuum seal them and sell them. You said turkey parts. Why? Turkey legs are easy to smoke. Excuse me. Chocolate chip cookies. Oh, poop. Really? She has an Oreo trophy. So, how is everybody else doing out there? What, Sean? Okay, legs, wings, and thighs to smoke. All right, cool, cool, Sean. Yeah, I don't think you can smoke Oreos. You got to crunch them up real good, though. Oh, come on. So, does everybody have at least 30 supplies for pandemic survival? Just raise your hand if you do. I can't raise my hand because I don't. Let's see. This person's got a lot of good information on here. And he talks about the pandemic. Nah. He does have one here. It says sour tea helps you avoid high blood pressure if anybody's interested. Lysol 91% alcohol. What? Yeah, you said you got you bought something the other day, Sean. You said you can't plan it yet though. So what else has everybody been up to? £2 of beans. Whatever. What do you mean, whatever, evil? Damn autocorrect. I hate it too. So let's see. Ooh. Hey, does anybody like calf foot jelly? See if I can show a picture of this. Don't know if it'll work. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? That is calf foot jelly. That's some good eating there. Yes, JJ, that's what that was called. Calf foot jelly. That's kind of gross. Hey, all you need to do to make it is 2 carrots, 1 onion, 4 cloves of garlic, and 3 hard-boiled eggs. Well, I'm just saying. That's supposed to be some type of survival food. Oh, here's one. It's called sweet potato coffee. The sweet potato was undoubtedly used here as a sugar substitute and as a means of stretching the coffee supply. Remember, coffee was coming from a long way away, and it still does today. Huh. Sweet potato coffee. Now here's one. Grown up as a kid, I always thought that acorns were poisonous, but if you boil them, you can actually eat acorns. So here's a recipe for acorn bread, and this is what it looks like. That's acorn bread. I'd probably try that. Well, you can make flour out of acorn evil. Is that what you're saying? Cool. Cool. Let's see what else they got here. Mud apples. Anybody ever heard of mud apples? Says the pioneers stole this little recipe from the Native Americans. It's a method of cooking apples in coals without burning them. Alrighty. Ooh. Hey, we got cottage cheese in the refrigerator that's from 1876. I guess this is a cottage cheese recipe from 1876. I'll read that one later. Really, they got this one's called a kid pie. Kid, Kid pie. This is what it looks like. Doesn't look bad. But that was a picture of a kid pie. And what they're saying, it says, this is not something from a spooky children's story. However, this is a recipe that the pioneers would have created once they settled and started raising goats. So it's goat meat. It's goat meat pie. No, that's goat meat pie. And that comes with a recipe too. And they talk about vinegar lemonade. Huh. So like I said, you can find all kinds of crap If you Google it, whether you go YouTube or just go straight to Google, and everybody likes to look up different shit. So, but that, all that stuff I was just showing it comes from Ask a Prepper at his website, and he's got a pretty good website. I have read some of his stuff that I don't agree with, but hey, that's because we're human. We're not all going to get along, and we're not all going to agree. But that's called life. That's what happens. Who we are. Which, yeah, JJ, that's it. Hey, you never know. You never know. But I will say this. I'm not afraid to walk away from the camera because somebody drank my beer and I'm going to go get another one. So I will be right back. Oh, man, too bad I can't play some tunes. That'd be pretty cool. What are you doing? All right, I'm back. Mustard on bacon and mustard. Yeah, I don't think I would like mustard on my bacon. But hey, everybody does their own thing. All right, let me see what else I got. I do kind of. I know everybody can't afford to go out and buy a freaking hazmat suit and freaking gas mask and stuff like that. But this guy has an article that says 30 supplies for pandemic survival. So I'm going to see what this is. Has an editor's note. This article was originally published in 2017. So there you go. Says this is an updated version of the article given the recent corona beer virus outbreak, which keeps spreading almost all over the world. And yes, I said corona beer. So let's see what the 30 things this person has to say. He talks about treating a pandemic within the home. If you have, oh hell, even if it's just a two, I keep forgetting the camera's over this way. If it's just two of you, like my wife and I, if her or I was to get sick, what you do is you quarantine off of one room. I mean, completely. Hopefully you have some type of mask or whatever you can wear, but you want to keep the person that is sick, you want to keep them away from everything else. And if you got 3, 4, 5 people in your home, once you pick a certain room for quarantine, that's where you keep that person. So, with saying that, he says have disposable gloves, disposable foot protection, aprons, N95 respirator masks, face shield or eye protection, disposable coveralls, thermometers, fever reducer, congestion meds, anti-diarrhea, throat lozenges, inflammation reducers, and then both crystalline vitamin C and cone flour will give you an option to boost the immune system. Some type of water storage, water filter, hydration powder. Oh, now he's talking about having an IV. I have never stuck a needle in anybody's arm. I would not know how to give an IV. Maybe that would be something I could look up. Any volunteers out there? No, really. Come on over. I'll practice. I'm kidding. Cans, plenty of antibacterial soap. A hardback copy of series of medical volumes or books, like The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, the Survival Medicine Handbook, and the Doomsday Book of Medicine. I'm going to have to look that one up out of curiosity. The Doomsday Book of Medicine. I have to check that one out. I don't know. And then he talks about pandemic protection outside of the home. But that keeps bringing up that respirator. And that the N95 was just the mask that you see everybody walk around with on their face. But I agree with what some of the other people say, eye protection. Just that mask, if this virus, keep your hands off your face. It's just like the freaking flu. And I heard a report on the radio today, as a matter of fact, that just the flu has killed more people this year than this corona beer has. They are hyping this thing up, but I'm not saying do not pay attention. But they put a stat out on the radio today saying just the common flu, whatever, and they gave numbers of how many people have died and how many people have been infected. and the number is a way bigger than the coronavirus. So I'm just saying, I don't know. Look it up, check it out, find out for yourself. But as I said, just pay attention. We will see what happens. And he goes on about talking about attack drones, perimeter alarm, and that's all over a pandemic. Well, if you're going to be locked down in your house like they are locked down in China, let's say this: you're locked. Let's just say we're stuck in China. I'm living in my apartment. I'm living on the 34th floor, and I do have a drone. Okay, power's not down. You still have running water. You're just not allowed to leave your place. So you send that drone out. Now, the way China is, if their military or anything like that happens to see that drone, they're definitely going to shoot that sucker down. But if you can get a drone out there and start taking pictures, okay. I also heard that they're arresting people that's putting out any information. So, I mean, China's screwed. And along with China being screwed, there is going to be a repercussion, a domino. That's the word. There's a domino effect going on right now. China's having issues, and it's going to affect everybody. So I made a comment in the past about watch the stock market. Watch it. And we'll see where it goes. Try and quarantine me. But anyway, I'm just saying, really hasn't changed. It's not getting that bad. But I think prices are definitely going to go up on a lot of stuff. Look at all the crap that we buy that is stamped China, made in China, made in China. Any Walmart store you go to, any Target store, anywhere you go, look at the products. A lot of them are made in China. And if China is in lockdown, that means nobody's working, nobody's out the factory, nobody's making anything. So just pay attention. Like I said, pay attention. I think most of you get that. Just pay attention. Yeah, exactly, Evil Rick. Apple is crime. Yeah, I'm going to smoke a cigarette now. No, it's not medical vape. But I do need to straighten some stuff up, get things together. I think I need to do some prepping around the house because I have a feeling that my wife's surgery is going to be in about a month and a half. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, I am getting off of here. I've been on here, it says up in the little ticker window, an hour and 5 minutes. And that's because Billy Bird, just stop. Just stop. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. It's a few minutes to 8. I'm going to go hang with my wife and maybe watch another movie. I don't know. But I wish you all well. Stay safe. Blessed be. And I will have something next weekend to talk about. I don't know. We'll see. You never know with me. You never know. So, saying that, I'll see you guys later. You have a good evening.